Hey guys, thought we'd just do a quick 10-minute game today, and I've got my opponent's rated 1249, so almost bang on 1250, and this is an unrated game, so there's nothing to win, nothing to lose. I'm going to play the London system. So d4, then against most things, your bishop comes out to f4. Okay, and we've got this early c5 break, that's fine. I'll just reply with c3 so that if takes, take back with the c pawn, develop my knight, get castled, nothing to worry about. Okay, let's reply to this knight move with the opposite knight move. That means that both of them are looking at these two central squares right in the middle of the board. It's a very solid system, the London. So if you're a beginner and you're looking for something to play, then you can't go far wrong with this. The good thing about it is that everything's like defending each other, right? This bishop's defended there, the knight's defended when it comes out. That knight is undefended right now, and so is that pawn. But these things can be remedied. For example, bring my bishop out to d3, defends the knight. If pawn advances, I just drop the bishop back. Okay, so what's black thinking? Very important to give almost like equal consideration to your opponent's ideas as you do to your own. I'm just going to stick my queen on here for now, just with a little idea of prodding away at h7. Might prompt him to. Okay, so he's moved his knight forward. So the knight's defending that, makes sense. They might have ideas about dislodging the knight, but I think knight to e5 is a very, very typical move. It's a move you want to get in with the London when you can. And if knight takes, I've got bishop takes, and then I'm attacking that knight. Then if that knight moves, or I remove it, I've got bishop takes. Right? And if I do get bishop takes pawn, then the old pawn trap, g6, might be played. But then I've got bishop takes pawn, pawn takes, queen takes with check. So I've actually got three... okay, that's interesting. So attacking my bishop does have two retreat squares it could go to, or I could put in an in-between move, capture that knight. I don't know about that. I think my knight's better than his knight right now. So what do we do here? Can't really take there, king takes, nothing's gained. Pawn taking there. I think just drop the bishop back. Sometimes you just have to be pragmatic. It's not a mistake. That's the important thing. And we're on a relatively short time control. Okay, so he's captured my knight. I'm going to take back with the bishop, maintain this nice pawn structure. So my dark square bishop is outside this pawn structure. My light square bishop is on the inside. Now the king has moved. That's interesting. So this rook's going to struggle to get into the game. So I'm inclined to develop my knight now. Maybe castle this way. Get my rook across and throw Freddie, Gary and Harry up the board. Yeah, it's castle. This isn't. There's no open or semi-open files right now. Okay, that's decent. Block it with a pawn. If pawn takes, I've got knight takes or pawn takes. Let's play pawn takes. Just keeps my pawns all together. I've got 7 pawns now, and I can quite easily maneuver my king into the middle of the board. Sometimes I'll do that with the London. Ooh, not in this case. Okay, there's only one move. Good attacking by my opponent. Now this bishop is still hanging. So what's he going to do? He's going to need to move this bishop out of the way. Might be thinking about moving my queen over to a2. Yeah, I literally did not look at threats here. Now I could try a bishop trap of my own here. With b4. Another idea is capture the knight, open up the king. Let's do that first. And think about this. So if I do that, he pushes a pawn, maybe I come here. So we've got a nice situation now. I'm tempted to play this though, I kind of like it. Gives my queen some options as well. Queen could then come to a4, maybe at some point. Or is it just going to force black to push pawns up the king side and then, well, it's actually the queen side. So let's think this through. Pawn there, let's attack with the queen. Pawn takes. And then the bishop's actually defended by the rook. I don't think there's any mileage in that, to be honest. I think right now, improving my queen. So let's think about targets on the board. These are defending each other. Everything's defended really apart from this and this. And where does this bishop have to go? Can't go there, can't go there. So it's going to have to go to one of these two squares here. It's probably going to come back here and defend that pawn if I attack it. So, I don't know really. I would like to get my king safe. I think that's a key consideration now. So I think let's move the knight. I want to move the knight anyway. So let's think about queen. Queen to there is all right, or queen to here. Queen to there. I'll attack the bishop. Make my opponent think. Then I can move the knight. Then I can move the king. Yep, okay. So he's come back to there. So he hasn't actually defended that pawn, which is slightly surprising. All right, now there's no options with my light square bishop up here. I think getting the king safe is a priority. So I'm going to put my rook on the semi-open G file now, and my king might just, gradually make his way over to safety on that side of the board. I'm not too concerned. Do I have to worry about this pawn maybe? No. I'm going to push. Constrains that dark squared bishop. I might even just lift my king up at some point and control the back rank with both my rooks. So my opponent's rated 1250, so there's nothing to stop him finding the best moves on the board. Okay, now if knight b1, I've got two attackers on there. I don't think he can summon up another defender, so I'm going to go for that idea. Capture with the knight, then move the queen. The knight's then knight's then unpinned. Yeah, I don't think he can. But if he decides, say, to bring no, queen can't come to there. Okay, that doesn't really help. So now can I just capture? I think I can. Let's capture the pawn. The pawn is an annoyance. Just have to move my queen to unpin it. Get my king to safety. I think that looks like a nice square surrounded by these other dark squared pawns. I like the fact that my opponent's got 3 pawn islands to my 1. That's his. And I still have Chain of Fools. I'm down under 5 minutes. My opponent's coming up to 6 minutes left on the clock. The key very much here is simply just not messing up. Don't make a mistake. Especially, as time formats get shorter. You don't always have to win the game as such, and I think that is one benefit of playing shorter time control. So this is 10 minutes, but playing 5 minutes and so on. One thing in its favour is it can help you train not making stupid mistakes. Right, so what's undefended on this side? Technically the bishop, that's defended, that's it. On my side of the board, I think we're all good. It doesn't take long to do a scan of the whole board and see what's undefended. You never know, you may just pick up something for free. Okay, so pawn push forwards. That means that pawn is now undefended, as well as that bishop. I'm just going to move my queen out of the way. So I'm going to try and play now moves that I know aren't errors, aren't glaring errors, and keep my opponent thinking on his time rather than my time. Okay, so he's pushing this pawn through. So he kind of wants to undouble his own pawns, which I get, but I'm not going to let him do it. He could block up the middle of the board, but him having two bishops then, I think that favours me slightly. Okay, so what's he thinking about here? Do I want to break open? Let's think this through. I've got knight to here, it's defended by the bishop and it attacks this guy. Let's play that, because it's not a mistake. Okay, so now we're down to opposite coloured bishops, and look, all my pawns are on light, dark squares. All my opponent's pawns, well, they're all over the place, his pawns. So now queen's defending that, undefended, undefended, undefended. He's under 5 minutes. Tick tock. My bishop's actually undefended as well. So, not too worried about this bishop now, because my pawns are going to do a great job of keeping him out. Let's throw in a check. Can't be a mistake. What are my targets here? That's definitely a target. So let's go for this. Rook can't come in with check, because takes. So I'm attacking that now. I'm kind of expecting maybe queen comes in here. No, queen can't come in there because of my rook. So improving pieces all the time, improve. Be nice to double up my rooks even. Get both my rooks on the e-file. And you can see now the importance of having a decent pawn structure. I've now got 2 pawn islands. My opponent has 4. 1, doubled and isolated pawns. Everything's now isolated. So when your pawns get isolated, it's very hard to defend them all. So you can very easily get into a situation with lots of pawns falling. Okay, his time is now catching up with mine. I'm attacking this pawn. I mean, how does he defend? He can't defend with the king. That doesn't work. Okay, so let's throw in a check. All right. Now, bishop to here. That's my idea. Queen's actually still defending that square, which is good. So I'm going to put my bishop there, and I can't take now because there are technically 2 defenders and 2 attackers, right? So if bishop takes, queen takes, and what do? I've just exchanged a bishop for a pawn. It's pointless. Could bring my rooks in. Okay, so he's thinking about some kind of discovery now. Could go here and offer to exchange queens. I'm up 2 pawns. This is forcing. So he's going to have to exchange queens, because if he moves his queen or blocks, then I just take there, and it's looking very, very dangerous. So I think that's forced, and I'm going to pre-move the recapture with a rook, just to really rub my opponent's nose in it. So I know what you're going to do, and I'm not worried. Still don't have to worry about this rook coming down. Oops. Let's do the pre-move again. Rook comes down there, I can block with the bishop, or I can simply move my king. Make your opponent think, oh, he's come down with a check now. That's interesting. Okay, I'll just block. I'm still threatening this, but not immediately. If the queen moves, got queen takes. King can't recapture, even though my defender is pinned. Okay, there we go. So that's taken him over 30 seconds. He's down under 2.5 minutes. I'd like to get my king onto a light square, get it out of the same dimension as his bishop. Okay, king is attacking the rook. Let's move the rook back here. My plan is to move my king to d3, double up my rooks. And if I have to win by timeout, I will win by timeout. That is the rules, that's how it works, I don't care. I'm going to win. I'll get about 3 or 4 points for this game, but I would lose a lot more. Alright, king there, I know is not an error. If takes, takes, if takes, takes. Next, need to bring my final piece into the game. Okay, I'm not worried about that pawn. If he wants to take me, I'll recapture. You can pre-move it. How many squares does my king have? Can't actually go there or there. So he's got two squares he can move to right now. Both on dark squares. You just need to be fairly careful. But again, if pawn takes, I just recapture. See how this bishop is having a horrible time now, right? Because of these pawn structures. There we go. And now the clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. It's a nice clip of Jim Moriarty doing that on Sherlock, the very final episode. One of the best TV series ever made. Alright, let's just drop back down. Let's not drop back down, let's put my other rook up there. Just for giggles. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Jim Moriarty. What a character. If you haven't seen Sherlock, started a while ago now, but also like feature-length TV programs, absolutely wonderful. And Andrew Scott playing Jim Moriarty, fantastic character. If you don't stop bothering me, I will burn you. He says, I will burn the heart out of you. Just the most delicious, wonderful character. I'm going to put my bishop here. I've got a plan. Right, so he can't move this with check. That's the important thing. My king's on a light square. That bishop is in another dimension right now. So whatever, if I move this now, okay, it comes with discovered check, but he didn't want that. He's only got 27 seconds left on the clock. I've got 2 minutes. I don't have to rush. But the quicker I play, the more of his time he's got to use to think. 15. Tick-tock, Sherlock. There we go. Throw in a check. Make life uncomfortable. Throw in another check. He's getting very short of squares. And I think that's checkmate. Yes, indeed. Very satisfying to win by checkmate. Anyway, thanks for working through this game with me. I've just explained my thought process as I went along. And there you go. That's how to win a 10-minute game against an opponent rated 1200 to 1300. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to Chess Boot Camp if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you soon.